Good afternoon, I'm Atik Rumi, bringing you the news on Gold FM.
The news headlines on Gold FM.
90-day detention for Saleh. Sajid accuses government of excluding youth from parliamentary committees. Market confidence wavers amid rising global and domestic risks. In the news overseas, Israel launches preemptive strike on Iran. In your sports news, Sri Lanka's final Super 8 clash tonight.
The top story on Gold FM.
The CID was granted a 90-day detention order to interrogate retired Major General Suresh Saleh, the former head of the State Intelligence Service. Major General Saleh was taken into custody on Wednesday in Paliagoda. Following an initial 72-hour questioning period that concluded yesterday, the Ministry of Defence approved the extended detention to allow investigators to probe deeper into allegations against the former intelligence chief. Parliamentarians from across the political spectrum, including Kins Nelson, Mujibur Rahman and Dayasiri Jayasekaram, offered varying perspectives on Saleh's arrest and the current political situation. Minister Anil Jayantha Fernando and Deputy Minister Ruman Senarath also provided their comments. In the interest of clarity, we refrained from dubbing their remarks.
ඔබතුමාලාගේ මැතිවරණ වේදිකාවේදී පළවෙනි සටන් පාඨය උනේ මේ පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරයට සම්බන්ධව අය නීතිමයට අසු කරනවා කියන එකයි. මේ දවසින් දවස තමුන්නාන්සලාට හිතන අය ගෙනල්ලා නීතිමයට මෙයා තමයි පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරයට සම්බන්ධ කියන එක නෙවෙයි හරි දේ කියන එක තමයි විපක්ෂයක් විතර අපි කියන්නේ.
එක පැත්තකදී කියනවා පරීක්ෂණ වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා පරීක්ෂණ කරනකොට කියනවා පරීක්ෂණ කරන්න පරිගන්න. මම කියන්නේ මේකට මම උත්තරයක් දෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. ඔය ඒ කියන අයම පහුගිය කාල පරිච්ඡේදයේදී කරපු ප්‍රකාශ දිහා අරන් බලන්න එකක්වත් සත්‍ය බවට පත් වෙලා නැහැ.
නියෝජ්‍ය ආරක්ෂක ඇමතිවරයා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේදී ඔහු පිළිගන්නවා දැන් ඒකට කලින් හමුදා බුද්ධ්‍යංශයේ කීප දෙනෙක් සහරාන්ගේ කණ්ඩායමත් එක්ක වැඩ කරයි කියන එක. ඒකෝර දැන් මේ නියෝජ්‍ය ආරක්ෂක ඇමතිතුමා බෝම්බ පිපිරෙන අවස්ථාවේ නැගෙනහිර ආඥාපති හැටියට තමයි ඔහු හිටියේ.
මේ වයිට් කොළ මංකොළ වෙන පුළුවන් එහෙම නැත්නම් අපරාධමය වරදවල් වෙන පුළුවන් මේ සියලු දේකට අදාළව ආණ්ඩුව විදිහට ඒ අවශ්‍ය නීතිය යුක්තිය සංස්ථාපනය කිරීම සඳහා අවශ්‍ය වන මැදිහත් වීම තමයි එතනදී අධිකරණ ක්‍රියාපටිපාටියට එකට එහෙම නැත්නම් ස්වාධීනත්වයට අපි බාධාවක් කරන්නේ නැතුව නීතිය යුක්තිය සංස්ථාපනය කිරීම සඳහා රාජ්‍ය අංශය විදිහට ආණ්ඩුව විදිහට අවශ්‍ය ඒ පසුකම ඒ ඉඩ ප්‍රස්තාව ලබා දීම තමයි ආණ්ඩුවක් විදිහට අපේ වගකීම.
මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ අද රවි සෙනවිරත්න මැතිතුමා ශානි අබේසේකර මැතිතුමාලට පහුගිය කාලේ යම් චෝදනා වෙලා තිබුණා. අධිකරණයේ මේ පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරය සම්බන්ධයෙන් අත්අඩංගුවට ගන්න එපා කියලා ඉල්ලීම් පවා කරලා තිබුණා. ඒ වගේම අද දවසේ මේ රටේ ආරක්ෂාව බාරව සිටින අරුණ ජයසේකර මැතිතුමා අපිට මතකයි පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරය සිදු වෙනකොට නැගෙනහිර ආඥාපතිවරයා විදිහට කටයුතු කරා.
මේ පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරය සම්බන්ධව සලේ මහත්මයාව අත්අඩංගුවට අරගෙන තිබෙනවා. බුද්ධ්‍යංශ තොරතුරු පිළිබඳව ඉතාම කල්පනාකාරීව කටයුතු කරන්න කියන ඉල්ලීම තමයි අපිට කරන්න තියෙන්නේ.
හොඳ කීර්තිමත් බුද්ධ්‍යංශ නිලධාරියෙක් තවගත යුතු අය ඉන්නවා. ඒ මිනිසුන් අරගෙන තමයි මේ කටයුත්ත කරන්නේ. එක් අයකට විදියකට තවත් අයකට තවත් විදියකට වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්න බෑ.
විවිධ අය විවිධ කාරණා ඕන කෙනෙකුට කියන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක සම්බන්ධව ඒගොල්ලෝගේ මත ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න පුළුවන්. මම හිතන්නේ පරීක්ෂණ වල ප්‍රතිඵලයක් තමයි තුමන් අත්අඩංගුවට අරන් තියෙන්නේ. ඒකත් එක්ක බලමු අපි ඉදිරියේදී මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා. මේ අත්අඩංගුවට ගැනීම ඇතුලේ මේ ඉතිහාසයේ යුද්ධයට මැදිහත්වීම සම්බන්ධව හරි එහෙම ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙවෙයි. කෙසේ වෙතත් ඔය සමහර අදහස් දක්වන අය නම් රණවිරුවන්ට කරපු දේවල් සම්බන්ධව ඉතින් කුදලාගෙන ගිහිල්ලා ඉරගවල දාපු හැටිත් ඒගොල්ලෝ දන්නෝනේ.
එක පැත්තකින් දැන් අලුගසා නැගිටිමින් සිටින කොටින්ව සන්තෝෂ කිරීමට කතෝලික සභාව සතුටු කිරීමට පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරය සම්බන්ධයෙන් මේ වන විට තියෙන සත්‍ය වසන් කරලා මේවා සියල්ල යටපත් කරලා මේ නැති නාටකමක් තමයි දැන් මේ කරලියට ගෙනල්ලා තියෙන්නේ.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
Galle District Crime Division officers continue to question organised crime suspect Janith Madhushankar, known as Podi Lassi, following his return to Sri Lanka. CID officials escorted the suspect from India yesterday before transferring him to Galle authorities under a 7-day detention order from the Badde Gama Magistrates Court. Despite existing court-mandated travel bans, the suspect previously fled to India, where Mumbai authorities apprehended him on the 16th of January. In a separate development, CID officers at Bandaranaike International Airport arrested a suspect subject to an Interpol red notice upon his arrival from Qatar. The individual stands accused of involvement in a 2022 double murder in Kadawatha and remained abroad in defiance of court orders. Meanwhile, Colombo North Crime Division officials detained 2 individuals, including a woman, for aiding and abetting a fatal shooting in Jintupitia. Police reports indicate the male suspect transported the murder weapon, while the woman provided logistical support for the attack, which left 1 dead and 4 others injured. Police in Ambalangoda and Ahungalla arrested 4 suspects, including a woman and a former military intelligence member, following the seizure of narcotics valued at 500 million rupees. Senior DIG for the Southern Province, Kitsiri Jayalat, confirms that a special operation conducted between yesterday evening and this morning led to the discovery of over 27 kilograms of heroin and ice. Officers also recovered 60 rounds of live ammunition of various calibers during the raids. The operation began when Ahungalla police intercepted a motorcyclist transporting drugs in the Balapiti area. Information extracted from the initial suspect led authorities to a residence in Galduwa, Ambalangoda, where the bulk of the shipment remained hidden. Investigators reveal that the haul consists of 14 kilograms of heroin and 13 kilograms of crystal meth. The suspects, aged between 41 and 45, allegedly operated under the direction of alleged organized criminal Karandeniya Sudda. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa claims the current administration reduced the number of sectoral oversight committees and removed youth participation since taking office. Speaking at the opposition leader's office yesterday, Premadasa met with a group of young individuals who lost their positions within these oversight bodies. In the interest of clarity, we refrained from dubbing his remarks.
වර්තමාන රජය බලයට පත්වීමෙන් පසුව එක පැත්තකින් ආංශික අධීක්ෂණ කාරක සභා ප්‍රමාණය අඩු කරලා ආංශික අධීක්ෂණ කාරක සභාවල ඒ තරුණ සහභාගීත්වය සහ මුලින්ම ඉවත් කරලා 2022 කාරුණ්‍යයට තැනක් ලබා දෙනවයි කියන අදහස අනුව ක්‍රියාත්මක වුණු ඒ යෝජනාව ක්‍රියාවට නංවලා වසර දෙකක්වත් ගත වුණේ නැහැ. අද දවසේ මේ මොහොත වෙන විට ඒ තාරුණ්‍යයට තියෙන නියෝජනත්වය ඒ ආංශික අධීක්ෂණ කාරක සභාවල සමාජිකත්වය මේ යවුණියන් 400ට අහිමි වෙලා තිබෙනවා. ලබා දුන්නු පොරොන්දුවක් අරගලේ නිසා බලයට පත්තුණු වර්තමාන රජය සහ මුලින්ම කඩ කරලා තිබෙනවා. අපි රජයට ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා නැවතත් වරක් අපි ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා ආංශික අධීක්ෂණ කාරක සභාවලට ඒ තිබුණු යොවුන් නියෝජනත්වය නැවතත් වරක් ලබා දෙන්නට කටයුතු කරන්නයි කියලා. කිසිම දවසක තාරුණ්‍යයේ හඬ ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරලා රටක යහපත් සෞභාග්‍ය සම්පන්න රාජ්‍ය පාලනයක් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නට බෑ. ආංශික අධීක්ෂණ කාරක සභාවල සමාජිකත්වය ඒ නිත්‍ය සමාජිකත්වය නැවතත් වරක් ලබා දෙන්නට වහා කටයුතු කරන්න.
A revealing interview on Hiru's exchange with Indika Liyanahevage of the Joint Apparel Association Forum exposed deep anxieties within Sri Lanka's flagship export sector. As global trade dynamics shift under new US tariff regimes and regional competitors like India secure historic deals with the EU, Sri Lankan industry leaders warn that the government is manufacturing problems rather than solving them. From the loss of a level playing field to administrative chaos in free trade zones, the industry claims it is being forced into a reversed gear that threatens its $5 billion contribution to the national economy. Liyanahevage explains how the shift to a 10% flat US tariff, while seemingly fair, actually strips Sri Lanka of the specialized advantages it once held over competitors like India. He argues that a level playing field is actually a nightmare for a country with high labor costs and no raw material base.
Ideal situation is to have zero tariff, but the problem is at the moment every country have 10% tariff. They said that it's going to be 15, but it's clear now it's 10% across the board. Every country has 10%. So therefore now we have, in terms of tariff, we have a level playing field. Earlier we had 20%, whereas Bangladesh 19%, like that. There were different tariffs. So there were, for example, when India had about 50%, we were at an advantage. But now that advantage is no more there. So therefore there will be challenge how to figure it out in terms of landed cost to USA.
The industry is bracing for a reversal of the equation as India secures zero tariff access to the EU, a market where Sri Lanka's current GSP Plus advantage is set to expire in 2027. Liyanahevage warns that without indefinite trade agreements, customers will inevitably flee to India.
Lanka has some commitments to meet in order to renew GSP Plus, and GSP Plus is a requirement-based system, whereas the trade agreement is indefinite. Do you think this could lead foreign direct investments out of Sri Lanka?
If we lose GSP Plus in 2027, then we will get into tariff. Then in that case, assuming we lose, right, we will be paying 10 to 12% tariff when it is landing to Europe, whereas India will not pay anything. So definitely the equation will reverse then. Then we will be paying tariffs when it is entering Europe. The government, as far as I know, they have started negotiations with the Europe, so that has to be sorted out to how to prolong it.
In a scathing critique of recent administrative changes, including moving compliance checks from the BOI to customs and the removal of the SVAT system, Lena Hevage argues that the government is actively troubleshooting its own industries instead of helping them.
Like I always say, we don't want a help kind of a thing. But if we are not troubled, that will be a big help.
Are you being troubled?
At the moment, now there is clarity on this matter. Like, for example, BOI to customs. So we have clarity, adding to the problem. Let's say this is adding to the problem. So therefore, I can't see that it has improved. If there are problems adding, SVAT going, right? 45 days keeping our money somewhere, right? This is going reverse now. This is going backwards. This is not going forward. So therefore, the government has to take steps to take it forward rather than going in the reverse gear. So that's important for the economy and the industry.
Expect the full conversation with Indika Lena Hevage on the Exchange program on Hero News International YouTube channel.
Now for some news in brief.
A ship carrying a LAF's gas shipment arrived in the country today, and the company says cylinders will be released to the market today.
The business news on Gold FM.
Confidence in Sri Lanka's financial system has remained steady in the short term, but has seen a decline for the medium-term outlook. This is according to the latest Systemic Risk Survey released by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. CBSL noted that the survey, conducted between December 2025 and January 2026, reveals that market participants are increasingly concerned about geopolitical tensions and natural hazards. While short-term sentiment over the next year remains generally positive, the outlook for the next 3 years has softened. Data indicate that there is no single dominant threat, rather, risks are broadly spread across several categories. Notably, the perceived probability of a high-impact negative event occurring has seen an uptick for both the short and medium terms.
International news on Gold FM.
Israel launched what it calls a preemptive attack against Iran, with Defense Minister Israel Katz saying the strike was carried out to remove threats to Israel, while also declaring a special state of emergency across the country. Explosions were heard in Tehran as the attack pushed the Middle East into renewed military confrontation and dimmed hopes for a diplomatic resolution to Iran's nuclear dispute with the West. The strike follows a 12-day air war between Israel and Iran in June and repeated warnings that Israel would strike again if Iran pressed ahead with its nuclear and ballistic missile programs. Foreign media reported that the US participated in the attack and was also carrying out strikes. Both Iran and Israel have closed their airspaces.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
Neil Sedaka, the Brooklyn-born singer-songwriter behind classics such as Oh Carol, Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, and Calendar Girl, died at the age of 86. His family confirmed his sudden passing, describing him as a true rock and roll legend and an inspiration to millions. Sedaka's 6-decade career included 5 Grammy nominations, hits written for other artists, and albums recorded on Elton John's record label. His family did not disclose the cause or location of his death.
Sports news on Gold FM.
Sri Lanka will take on Pakistan in their final Super 8 fixture of the T20 World Cup tonight at 7 p.m. at the Pallekele International Cricket Stadium in Kandy. while the co-hosts have already been eliminated from the tournament following a humiliating 61-run defeat to New Zealand on Wednesday. The match remains a critical must-win for Pakistan after England's 4-wicket victory over the Black Caps in Colombo last night kept their semi-final hopes alive. Sri Lanka will be without the services of wicket-keeper batter Kusal Mendis, who has been ruled out of tonight's clash due to a recurring muscle injury. Meanwhile, sources confirmed that Kamil Mishara is expected to take over the gloves and join the playing 11 for Sri Lanka's dead rubber fixture. That's it for the news. I'm Atik Rumi. Have a great